Hi everyone. My name is Anneliese Dodds. I'm chair of the Oxford European Association, which is one of the three co-organisers of this hustings. The other ones being Oxford for Europe. You see lots of t-shirts around. You can go one if you want. And the European Movement Oxford branch. Now, before we can proceed to today, we have two events next week, which you should be interested in and interest others to go to. One is the sequel to this hustings, which is the Oxford West and Abingdon hustings, which is happening on the 24th of May, so next Wednesday, 7 p.m. at Exeter Hall in Kidlington. The other event is an event which is highly pertinent to this discussion, which is a discussion on whether Article 50, notice having already been given, is revocable or not. It's a discussion I'll be having with Joylon Mohan QC. That's on Monday, the 22nd of May at 7:30 p.m. at the Jam Factory, which is very close to the train station in Oxford. But today we have a panel on Oxford East. Fortunately, the Conservative candidate, Dr. Suzanne Partington, having been invited, has declined to attend this hustings. We do have candidates from all other parties that are participating. I'll let our chair, Will Hutton, principal of Hertford College, present them in turn. And the format will be that there'll be a 2 minutes opening speech from each one of the candidates, followed by a set of questions. We've had pre-submitted questions. We'll kick off each of these discussions of each of the questions by 1 minute response from each of the candidates, and then it will be open up for others in the audience to continue and probe them further. So I shall shut up at this stage. We will have this empty chair in case Conservative decides to appear. And Larry Sanders, I understand, is on his way, so hopefully as we go through the opening speeches, he will be joining us. And I shall hand over to Will.
Okay, thank you. Let's get on with it. Those who know my writing know that I take a view on this question, which I, of course, well, you may get to hear it in the course of the evening. But let's begin with our candidates. Kirsten, do you want to just say, 2 sentences about you, and apart from being the Libdem candidate, give us a sense of who you are.
So it's wonderful to be here tonight. Thank you everybody for showing up. I'm Dr. Kirsten Johnson. I'm a doctorate in music, not medicine, so don't ask me to fix anything afterwards. I'm passionate about music, yes. I'm passionate about Europe. That's where we are tonight. And I'm part of a national party which is passionate about Europe. We've been unequivocal in our support for Europe. We are not divided. We are completely united in fighting Brexit and doing all we can to remain in the EU. So it's wonderful being part of that family, and I would encourage you in Oxford East, which voted in the majority to remain, to very much consider voting Libdem this time, because we do have a strong chance in this constituency. And if I were elected as your MP, not only would I be a local MP, but also I would represent you as my constituents in my fight to remain in the EU. Now, I've lived in Headington, where I'm currently, since 2004. All 3 of my children were born at the John Radcliffe Hospital. But I came to this country via Vienna. I studied in Vienna at the Hochschule für Musik und Darstellende Kunst under a Rotary International Scholarship. And that was my first introduction to Europe. I fell in love with Europe, having never been here before. I also fell in love with an Englishman, who's now professor of law at the university. So we have strong university contacts as well there. And our first flat here was a little tiny Christchurch flat.
You've only got another 10 seconds.
10 seconds, okay. Off the Botley Road. Oxford has been my home. I'm clearly an immigrant, originally from the United States, but Oxford is international. I want to keep it international. I want to keep it outward looking. It's who I am, it's who our friends and colleagues are, and it's what I'm fighting for. Thank you.
Okay, thank you all. We'll go to Larry next. Larry, you better introduce yourself. You better give us in a sense or two a flavour of who you are and an opening statement. So be bloody quick.
How bloody quick do I have to be?
You've got 2 minutes max.
2 minutes max. I'm very sorry to be late. I had 7:30 in my diary, so I was carefully waiting to come here at the proper time.
Can you everyone hear him? Because he's on the mic.
Oh,
Let's just pass this mic down a bit.
Hi.
right. Okay, I'm Larry Sanders. I'm the Green Party candidate. I was a county council for 8 years for parts of this constituency. I'm presently the health and social care spokesperson for the National Green Party. The loss of the referendum I felt was an enormous blow, as I think probably many people here did. It was a very strange campaign, even more lying than most. And in the end, the only thing that seemed to be coming through time and again was an anti-immigrant, anti-minority sentiment. The enormous complexities of coming out of the European Union, what it's going to cost us in terms of jobs and money, hardly entered into this discussion. People tried to say it, but the underlying tone was really about foreigners and how much difficulty they really cause us. Well, speaking as somebody who's a particularly foreigner, born and brought up in New York, although I've been here for 47 years. My father was an immigrant from Poland. My mother's parents were immigrants, also from Poland, a different part of Poland. So it was a particularly painful thing for me. And after I know, as we all know, that when the anti-minority and anti-immigrant stuff starts, we don't know where it's going to end. But every inch of it is unpleasant, and some of it is horrible. So basically, I think it's clear. It will become even clearer.
A couple of sentences and you're done.
Well, the Green Party says at the end of 2 years, when we know what Brexit means, we say that people need another chance to have a say.
Okay, good.
I couldn't have been more ecstatically pleased that the English people voted to leave behind the evil bureaucrats of Europe. I couldn't believe that they did when I consider that Barack Obama, Kirsten Johnson, the BBC, all the broadsheets, all the political parties were telling us that the world was going to fall down the next day if we decided that we could govern ourselves, trade with everybody in the world, but we govern ourselves. Thank you.
And last but not least, Anneliese.
Great, thank you very much. My name is Anneliese Dodds. I'm currently the Labour member of the European Parliament for the South East of England. If I was elected as your MP, I would stand down as a member of the European Parliament, and the next place person on the Labour list would stand up to be the Labour MEP. But the extreme and chaotic isolationist Brexit we're seeing at the moment is one of the main reasons why I want to stand to be your MP, because I can see the damage that it's causing in our city. I campaigned with many of you, and I'm seeing many familiar faces here, to try and make sure that we could stay within the EU, because I knew that being out would harm us. But of course we did, across the country, lose that fight, even although here in Oxford we won. Not everywhere. I live in Rose Hill, where I'm bringing my children, and unfortunately there are many areas in the city like Rose Hill which said that they didn't want to stay, albeit by quite a small margin. I'm proud of the role that the Oxford Labour Party played in the campaign, working with others and with the trade unions. But I think it's really important now, whatever people's views were of the referendum, that we unite and push back against this extreme, chaotic Brexit. I was absolutely astonished to see yesterday Theresa May coming to the BMW plant in Cowley, a place that I visited many times before the referendum, when I've talked to many of the trade unionists over and over again, who told me the impact of an extreme Brexit on their work, potentially on the trading links that they have, that she had frankly the brass neck to turn up there and say that she was fighting for a good deal. Well, I've talked to people from BMW, I've talked to them in their Brussels representation, and I've also talked to German parliamentarians in the Bundestag, and they have said their impression of the British government is that it's shouting, it's not listening, it's focusing on creating conflict, on short-term politics, and frankly on internal political issues, rather than protecting the future of manufacturing both in Britain and across the rest of the EU. I've also been very disturbed by what we've seen on science, a government that says it's going to stand up for it when it's done quite the opposite. And I'm a former academic, so that's close to my heart, but it's also close to my heart because of the amazing science we do here in our city. We need someone who's going to fight for it from the off. Thank you.